following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
Hi, I'm Don Mattingly. In today's game, bat speed is the key to performance. And I designed the V-Grip handle to increase your bat speed and distance. I invented the V-Grip to give every hitter instantly a major league grip. The Beast outperforms every bat on the market with its unique direct power transfer, which delivers maximum distance and trampoline effect. Unleash the Beast within you.
Hello, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Retroactive Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Lenz, joined by, once again, Johnny Townsend.
Hello, welcome to the Radioactive Athletic radio show. We're so glad to have you here. We're ready to talk. This is part two, really, of what we started last time, Andrew.
Yeah, because Matt kind of gave us the idea, because Matt is back once again, and so is his son.
Hi. Yeah, this is what I thought I was doing the first time.
Yeah.
Reading is everything, people. If learn to read.
Well,
Or
Matt
comprehend what you've read.
Yeah, Matt's a new father. He's probably a little sleep deprived, so we'll give him
just a smidge.
And you'll hear little Bennett from time to time if you're listening to this. We really want to Bennett on the podcast. Is this his first podcast appearance?
Well, that's
yes, it is. It actually,
yes, we got him.
We got him.
I'm bragging to everybody.
Yeah, this is exclusive. Nobody
You
else
should
can
actually
claim
screenshot this image right now of him, if you will.
This is a podcasting first for Mr. Bennett Johnson, because I value, even though he's only been alive on this earth for what, 3 months?
3 months and a week.
So,
I gotta say, he does have some of the most. Matt will send us pictures from time to time in our group chat. He's got he makes the most memeable facial expressions of any baby that I've seen in a long time.
yeah,
He's very expressive. He's a little chatty Cathy right now, or he'll converse with you.
Yeah,
even though he doesn't know what he's saying, but he'll just say stuff.
Oh, he knows what he's saying. We don't know.
So
what
he's perfect for.
fair.
He's
That's
perfect
fair.
for a sports podcast.
Yeah.
There
Just
with
spew out
Stephen A.
whatever.
and
Yeah, just
Skip.
spew it. Yeah, you don't need to think about what you're talking about.
ESPN, here we come.
Yeah, he's already. I'm pretty sure he already has a multi-million-dollar contract if he just spews stuff and he doesn't.
Fox Sports 1, here we come. I don't
He
care.
has the same number of jobs as Skip Bayless currently.
Take it over for Colin Cowherd.
Good.
Any day now.
Good.
But yes, we are talking about guys that are future Hall of Famers, but I threw in one of each for mine for baseball and hockey. That guys that I think maybe borderline that have been missing out on Hall of Fame, and I see other guys get in, and I get really pissed off when I think these guys don't get in. So
I have ones on mine who I think will be fun discussions. I don't know if they'll be completely unanimous, and I think it's more interesting.
Oh,
Of a
good.
conversation. But they're all very accomplished players for sure. And none of mine are repeats from last week.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Obviously with the football stuff, the way I picked 5 quarterbacks. I'm going to just give you a preview because quarterback is the hardest to judge right now for the Hall of Fame, especially in the last 15, 20 years, guys, because you're going up against Tom Brady, like the standards that Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, that they've been kind of the face of the NFL quarterback room for for the bulk of the last 20 plus years. So
Yeah, Delhomme. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
So I wanted to. You got me with that one. I should have known. I should have known that was coming. But I thought it was it'd be an interesting discussion because there are so many very accomplished guys that have played quarterback that have done well for an extended period of time and may never ever see the Hall of Fame. So I think it'd be perfect for this episode to discuss that.
I think stat benchmarking in pretty much in all sports have gone really to 2 different ways. I think a lot of stuff in baseball, you got to look at it as it's gone down. In football, where like you mentioned, the quarterback 4,000 yards is like the new 3,000 from
Correct.
me growing up and everything. So
Like if you're not throwing for 4,000 yards in a season, like
Who are you?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, in the NBA, like if you're not scoring 20 points a game, then you're a nobody.
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
wild how the standards have changed so much. But
And on top of that, and I'm sure it's like this in the other sports, but in basketball, even stats themselves have evolved into like what we actually track now. 10 years ago, I didn't even know what a plus minus was,
That's a
I still don't
hockey
know.
term. That's a hockey term.
but it wasn't in basketball. You know what I
That's
mean?
the
Like
crazy thing that they took that from hockey. You know
smart.
what a plus minus is?
I know what it is now, but I'm saying like 10 years ago, I did
No,
not.
but Matt, you don't know what it is, or
I have no idea.
okay.
It's for basketball. I'm very curious if it's the same thing for hockey. But in basketball, basically plus minus is how you affect the game when you're actually in the game. So
Okay.
are you being a positive with all your stats and how you're playing, or are you being a negative? Let's say you go in, you have a really good game and your team wins, you're gonna have a really good plus. But if you go in and you have a lot of turnovers and your team loses, you're gonna have a really bad negative type of thing.
Okay.
Hockey is
All right.
pretty much if somebody scores on your shift, it's a negative. If your shift scores, it's a positive.
So very similar. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. That's kind of cool.
But are we ready? You want me to kick it off with some baseball there? Or-
Yeah, let's do it. Hit us a grand slam.
Okay, my guy is the Hitman, not Brett the Hitman Hart, but
4 out of 10.
is Donnie Baseball, first baseman of New York Yankees. And yes, as a Red Sox fan, I am going to bat for Donnie Baseball.
Man, his last name is Baseball. I mean, how does he not get in?
What's
He was
Matt?
just born to play. He was born to play.
Yeah. Could you imagine if he played a different sport? Wouldn't make any sense.
So he did have a back injury, which kind of shortened his career. I know this sounds weird. He only played until he was like 34, but he did miss some games at that point. So his career stat, now normally the benchmark for hits is 3,000. If you get 3,000 hits, you're pretty much guaranteed a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Fell a little short with 2,153. The benchmark for home runs is like 500, and he had 222, but he also had a career batting average of 307, which is not bad. Some of kind of his other accolades there. He's a 6-time All-Star, an AL MVP in 1985, 9-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner, and he was an AL batting champ in 1984, RBI leader in 1985. But this guy, he had some really good, tremendous like seasons, even home run wise. And then he kind of had that like a little bit of back problems that his home runs dropped from like 30 a year down to maybe he was getting like 20 at the most. And that's kind of where it is. And his RBIs went down too, because like I said, he kind of had some back problems and back injuries. But other guys have got it in. This is kind of a Sterling Sharp situation. Matt knows what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where a player has a really good short span and then they kind of get injured and either they fall off or they retire. And that's kind of way that Don Mattingly was. But other guys have gotten in that have played for like 20 years and you look at him and you go, this guy was good, but he wasn't like Don Mattingly good.
That's a good question to bring up too. Like if it was you and you had the ability, would you rather have the lengthy good career or just like have a career where you have a spurt over you're amazing and one of the top of your sport, but then you go downhill after that?
Yeah, that's like a lot of people a lot of fans are like, man, I'd sacrifice a bunch of bad seasons if I could just watch my team win a Super Bowl once.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like that mentality. There are a lot of guys who are good for a long period of time, and like in football's sake, like Frank Gore. Frank Gore has been consistently good for a very long career. He never had years where he was like that dude, like a LaDainian Tomlinson or a Thurman Thomas. He's never been that guy, but he was very consistent throughout his career. Gore will probably get in, but this baseball fella, it's so hard because of the rich history of baseball. You know what I mean? There's so many years of baseball players who've set the bar super high over a lengthy period of time. Oh, I'm on the fence on this one.
So to give you a comparison of what I'm talking about is Scott Rowland just got in. And Scott Rowland was a good player, but I don't think he was ever like the best third baseman in baseball. And he just got in with 2,077 hits, 316 home runs, and a 281 batting average. But he played 17 seasons to get less hits than what Mattingly did and a lower batting average. Well, so that means he wasn't at the highest. That is where, to give you context of where I'm coming from.
We're about to have a third join the podcast.
Hey,
Yeah, dude, it's like
it's a sports podcast. We got to have something chiming in.
Yeah, somebody's gonna bark in. Yeah,
it's
Be up there with ESPN.
yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. Remind me how long this guy played for?
Don Mattingly?
Yeah.
14 years.
14 years. You know what? I'm going to say yes because, the stats that he had in that short amount of time are really good. Guys get injured all the time and they go. That would be like saying that because Calvin Johnson retired at the age of 30, he can't go in the Hall of Fame. Comparable.
Whenever he played at least 90 games, he did not bat under 300.
he should have taken some rest games, and maybe he would have been all right.
Or no, he did not bat under 250, which is not bad.
I think I would say yes as well. I mean, to me, it's just as impressive that he was able to play that long after he got hurt.
And they
Especially, I don't think people realize how much a back injury can really derail your athletic career. I mean, Andrew knows my favorite basketball player ever was Larry Johnson, and he was like when he was in Charlotte, he was like one of the most explosive above the rim guys there was. And then back injuries hit, he had to become a totally different type of player.
Right. Yeah, it'll throw you off. I'm in for Mattingly. I've seen like how like popular he was. Our downstairs neighbors, when I was at my last apartment, their basement had pictures and such of Mattingly all over the place. They just adored him, and yeah, I think again, I would say as long as he had very productive 14 years, most of the 14 years. So I'd say I'm all in on him going in.
Plus, he was Mr. Burns' choice to play first base in The Simpsons.
That gets him in right there for me automatically. Good enough for Burns, good enough for me. I'll go next. All right. I'm going to go start this off with the beard. Let's go James Harden here. Maybe one of the most current divisive basketball players to play. Some people love the beard. Some people really can't stand to watch him, especially when he was in his heyday in Houston. But here's some of his highlights. Six-time All-American. Six-time All-American. Six-time All-NBA first team. MVP. He has an MVP under his belt. He's made the third team. 6 Men of the Year. All-Rookie second team. Flamed out a lot in the playoffs.
That's a nice way of putting it.
But during the regular season, this guy really put up numbers. It was insane. Some of the seasons he would have. Bringing up his stats now. This is what I'm saying. Like, there's 100 different stats. Just give me even as a career currently, last season was probably his worst season just scoring wise, and he still is putting up almost 17 a game. And for careers averaging over 24 with 7 assists. Here's the thing: he's never been my cup of tea, right?
No.
When it comes to like style of basketball player, the constantly searching and hunting for foul calls and stuff like that. It's just not for me. It's not fun. I'm much more of a team basketball. I think it's more fun to watch.
Yeah.
But to me, there's no denying how incredible this guy is. I, in my opinion, despite never winning a championship, just all the accolades he has, how long his career's still going, and he came into the league in 2009, and he's still playing. So that's pretty impressive. I think he just signed another contract with the Clippers. So to me, this guy gets in.
I'm in the same boat. I honestly think the only knack about Harden is his nomadic kind of journeyman career that he's had. And he's had some really bad exits from some teams that have turned very public and nasty. But other than that, he's been a very productive player, and his window might be closing. He may still get a ring in the long run, but He's been really, as far as regular season goes, the dude has been, on top, phenomenal. I watch basketball is probably the second sport that I follow the most, and I don't even watch it as often as I probably would like. But Harden's always been kind of just the workhorse, in my opinion, of any team he's been on. Very productive, maybe not a stat patter, but he can get the job done. So I'm all in on Harden getting in.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to say it, but yeah, he's definitely probably a shoo-in for a Hall of Fame.
I mean, just the beard game on top of that is pretty impressive. But yeah, the main thing that I never liked, it really bothers me when a player not only pretty much forces their way out of a situation that they themselves got themselves into.
Yeah.
Which would be like, I'm not going to talk about him today, but Durant would be up there with me too for the same thing, basically. But yeah, I think he's still a shoe-in just based on his career and what he's done, despite not winning a championship and kind of flaming out in the playoffs a lot.
No, I fully agree. There's a lot of guys who are comparable in various other sports that have gotten in, and I'm sure there's a lot like that in basketball. Yeah, Harden definitely deserves his place.
Do they count the college stuff too?
Yeah, I think it's Naismith Hall of Fame is everything.
Yeah, because I know Grant Hill got in.
Yeah, it's everything. It counts it counts college, and I think coaching as well. Like if you do that, go into coaching. Also, I mean, the one thing we ain't even talked about is Harden probably single-handedly kept strip clubs in business in Houston. So
that is true.
He sure did.
Probably funded multiple ones.
I'll probably never be able to go, but Harden deserves
he did it for you,
Matt. For that.
He did it for you.
Did you see that? Recently, he was at a wedding with whoever he's dating now, and they always throw the bouquet of flowers, and his girlfriend caught it, and then the camera pans at his face, and the face he makes is really funny. It's been a level of memeing.
Bless his heart.
I'm excited to hear what Matt's got for these quarterbacks because
I got some really good ones. They're all from the same era.
Real crucial of this stuff.
I know. All right. So my first one that I'm going to choose, he was a longtime Atlanta Falcons quarterback. He did spend a year in Indianapolis. That was bad, but I'm talking about Matt Ryan as my first choice. If I'm not mistaken, it's either the fastest of 40 or 50,000 passing yards. He got there pretty quick, and he's still on the young side. He's 39 now. He retired at the end of last season, even though he didn't play. But over his career, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. He was the 2016 AP MVP. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2008. He was, just a lot of big, really good, career accomplishments. 62,792 passing yards and 381 touchdowns in his 15-year career. Now, when it comes to Matt Ryan, everybody's mind, unfortunately, and it's not even his fault, and this is what bothers me so much, but it instantly goes to the 28-3 Super Bowl loss to the Patriots, where his defense just shit the bed. And I would dare so say the offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan just got stupid. He just terrible play calling in the back half of the game. But Ryan's been pretty good. I think there is room for him in the Hall of Fame. But again, he's been on some bad Falcons teams. The last season with the Colts wasn't good, but I also don't blame that on him. The Colts roster was horrible. I'm in on Matt Ryan. I think of this last generation of quarterbacks, he's in the upper echelon. He might be top 10 career passing yards too. I'm gonna double check that really quick. What do you guys think?
Andrew's chomping at the bit here.
Yeah, he's about to say nope. And I'm gonna bring up how his boy Dan Marino got in, but
my boy Dan Marino got in because he changed the game.
So did Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan did not change.
He choked twice. He made choking a memeable thing.
Matt Ryan
choked against the Vikings and in that Colts Christmas Day game that almost ruined my Christmas in 2022, and he choked to the Super Bowl.
Matt Ryan is 7th in passing yards all time.
Yes. Oh look who he's ahead of.
Oh, Dan Marino, the guy that changed the game to get there. And he's only got 1,000 more than him in this pass happy league. Let's put that out there, Johnny. He doesn't mention that to you about how much.
Yeah,
work
but he also got it in less time.
I'm going to be Switzerland here, and I love both these players.
He got it in less time though. Was
I
it
think.
16, 17 years for Dan Marino? We got 14 years of
Oh yeah,
of
because
Matt Ryan.
everybody passes every single time.
But only one, I will say this, only one of them helped Ace Ventura.
Yeah, that's going to be the tiebreaker for Johnny. I know how to get Johnny on these.
He
See how I
does, he
mentioned
does.
Dan Marino or Don Mattingly playing for Mr. Burns? Matt Ryan.
I have nothing but a pop culture connoisseur.
It's so hard. Is he first ballot? I'm going to say no.
But do you think he gets in?
There is a strong possibility he does get in if he gets on the right ballot with the right guy.
I think he has to eventually because I mean, outside of Big Ben and a couple of the quarterbacks I'm going to bring up today, slim pickings at quarterback for the last 25 years, just because a lot of, like I said, Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger made a lot of those guys kind of irrelevant.
I was going to hold it against him for his one all pro, but I got on the non-bias side and I was like, he is right. That belonged pretty much to Manning and Brady, and now it pretty much belongs to like Mahomes and Burrow and Allen.
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson are like those top four guys that just kind of own it. You could have the stats all day, but you're not going to break into that category. So I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. If I'm going to be 100% honest, that's where I'm at with him.
Okay.
But the question is he a Hall of Famer? It doesn't matter what ballot you get in. You get in, you're a Hall of Famer.
I would say there's a strong possibility he does get in.
The only person I've ever seen mad about getting in the Hall of Fame but not first ballot is Terrell Owens. So
yeah,
he got so offended that he did his Hall of Fame ceremony at his college.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Such a diva. Unbelievable. But yeah. All right. Very good.
All right. Hockey.
This guy just retired, so I got lucky on this one. Joe Pavelski had a long 13-year career with the San Jose Sharks and the Dallas Stars. Let's see, 4 goals, 476, which is not bad. 592 assists, and for that's a total of 1,068 points. And just because Johnny said it, his plus minus over his career was 201. That's plus 201.
I was about to say, is that plus or minus?
It's a plus there.
I do think it'd be great if just one time they put in a player who was just bad, but like it's kind of endearing that they were that bad.
Yeah, you're historically bad, so we're putting you in.
Yeah.
I would like the Hall of Shame. He does have the most playoff goals by an American-born player with 70.
That sounds like a retroactive sports podcast idea. The Hall of Shame.
The Hall of Shame.
We each nominate
we really
the worst
do.
of all time.
Yes, we really do need to do that, Johnny.
I feel bad being mean to people though.
just so bad one hit. Like we could just do like the Hall of One Hit Wonders or something too.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, I like that. Flashing it, we can call them flashing the pans, those type of players.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He is a 4-time All-Star.
I'm looking at you, Jeremy Lin.
Looking at you, Peyton Hillis. And one time, second All-Star team. I don't know what the second All-Star team. He was also that. Other than that, I don't think he's got too much accolades, but he's been a very, very consistent player. Kind of the Sharks when he played for them, he doesn't have any awards. Okay.
And it was just Shark Week.
Yeah. So the Sharks were always that team. How do I put it? Even though they did make it to the Stanley Cup the one year, they were like say in football terms, the like 2000 Chargers.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like everybody was like, "Oh, they're gonna make it. They're gonna make it," and then they fall short. And then I'm trying to think of basketball terms.
They're not living up to potential, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like the 76ers now.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Yep.
they would always make it. They would be in there. I mean, he's been in the running for like the Selke, which is a best defensive forward, and the Lady Bing is sportsmanship, which I think Wayne Gretzky owns the record for most Lady Bings.
Yeah. I mean, who's not going to bang the goat?
He's also, don't get me started. Gretzky's not the goat.
Gretzky's my goat. He was in a cartoon, Andrew.
Super Mario's my goat.
Oh, well, he's no Super Mario. I didn't say that.
And then he's got some
Check out video game characters in other video games.
Yes, there you go.
Yes,
There's
G
your plug.
plug.
So, and also check out NHL players in other jerseys and see maybe if Joe Pavelski is up there with the Dallas Stars, even though he played for him for 5 years. Those are all on Facebook, all run by Matt.
Yes.
And
100%.
So he's kind of, there's no awards, handful of all-star appearances, but the stats are there. I would say the stats are pretty much there. 1,000 career points is pretty damn good.
Yeah, this is tough. Like, it's tough because when you don't hear about any award, like receiving any awards, but
Yeah,
awards is
accolades
often
accolades really help. Yeah.
it helps. But it's also like a lot of these awards, some of them are like a popularity contest. Like how many times is like a guy who's done like almost everything that needs to be happened, like gets like snubbed. Again, going back to a football reference, like TJ Watt a couple years ago outplayed Aaron Donald in every possible category. But Aaron Donald still won Defensive Player of the Year. So
Yeah,
it's
it gets really weird too. Like I know in basketball, they've gotten to where contracts are actually tied into like your accolades. Like what awards do you win? If you win if you make like the NBA first team, you can actually make more money. And I always feel that's a weird thing to do, especially when it's something that's voted on and opinionated.
So he is in the top 100 for scoring in the NHL.
I'm kind of 50-50 on this one.
So
but the stats I'm kind of leaning towards, yeah.
He's got the stats, and I think the other thing that's going to kill him is when it comes to his time with the Sharks, he wasn't the star. He was one of the stars, but he was never the star of the team.
He was he like the Pippen? Is that what we're saying?
He was I don't even put him as a Pippen sometimes.
Also, he was the coach.
Like me personally, I mean, other hockey fans may be yelling at me. Sorry, my friend John. Like when I think of those Sharks teams, I'm thinking of Joe Thornton, Logan Couturier, Patrick Marleau, and then probably Paparazzi. And then
I mean, that's just a given. Yeah, that's just easy given there.
those are the ones that I'm thinking of. So
Sounds like you're on the fence too here.
Yeah, just because he doesn't have but just on stats alone.
Like if you just read me his stats, I would just assume, yeah, he's getting it.
Yeah. So I think he's going to get in. I think he's in the Matt Ryan, not first ballot, but at some point
he'll get in at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Baseball. We're going to go with Tim Lincecum.
What now?
Tim Lincecum.
It sounds like a disease.
No, it sounds like when never mind, I can't say this is a different show.
So
don't do it.
Here's a different I'm just gonna nip this in the bud. Here's a guy who only played 10 seasons.
You nip it in the bud, and you're gonna Lincecum.
He only played 10 seasons. Okay. And then he was a pitcher. Now the benchmark for pitching, I'm trying to ignore all this. The benchmark for pitching is pretty much your wins. And that the benchmark is like 300, but you could probably knock it down to kind of like what we were talking with the NFL. You could probably knock it down where things have changed. You could probably knock it down to about 200 wins now. Lincecum only has 110 wins with 89 losses and a 3.74 ERA. No. Okay, but let me read you some other things about Mr.
Yeah, make your case.
Okay, so he is a 4-time All-Star, a 3-time World Series champion, 2-time Cy Young winner, and a 3-time NL strikeout leader. So when he was good, I mean, like those years that he had like a good probably 4-year span in those All-Star games, maybe even longer than that. He just probably didn't get in. I would say a good 5 years where he was probably considered the top pitcher in baseball. If not, you could make a strong argument, for him being the best pitcher in baseball.
Also, I mean, I think it helps him too to not only have those World Series wins, but the Cy Young multi Cy Young wins. I think really helps you a lot.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm in on this fella too. If you're one of the 5 years is a decent enough time to be the best dude. Best in your position. It's not too shabby. Some guys are kind of wishy-washy. Where like 1 year they're good, 1 year they have an off year, and they kind of come back. I'm gonna say Hall of Fame for this guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Lincecum. Let's all come together and say he's in the Hall of Fame.
Guy was amazing. If you guys ever go check him out, he was like 5'10" and was like throwing into the high 90s. I think that's what killed him. Is he was like 5'10", 100 and something pounds, and he was like whipping him into like the 90s. And I think after that takes a toll on a man's body when you're that small and you're throwing a ball that fast.
Well, I mean, that's why Rowan Gardner and Rookie of the Year didn't last more than a season.
Yeah, I was just watching Angels in the Outfield. the other day.
Oh,
and
we're going to cover that movie soon. I'm very excited for that.
Tony Danza, not a big guy, threw his arm out.
I was gonna say, don't you dare say a bad word about Tony Danza in front of me.
I get so sad when
You've
they're
already-
like, yeah, he's gonna be dead in 6 months. I was like,
No, don't say that, damn it.
That's,
We
I'm sorry,
already
he's-
need to have a discussion, Matt, because somebody doesn't know the difference between Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl.
yeah.
really
Is
right
it-
now?
I think he's. I don't know if he's talking about me.
No, he's definitely talking about me. You got to put my
Sometime.
personal business out there.
You don't know the difference between NBA Jam and NBA Jam Tournament Edition.
Actually, that is a little confusing, but
Yeah, I'm a little confused on that one too.
So I'm just confused. There's like 5 different versions of Street Fighter 2, but that's me.
Well, if you got something good, you got to keep it going.
Yep. All right. We ready? So we're all saying he's getting in. Then
Yeah.
yeah. All right. I'm going to see that and raise you Chris Paul.
Oh,
Let's talk about Chris Paul. I think he's still playing. 18 seasons. I think he just signed with the Spurs. I believe.
So
I'm thinking
he's
correctly.
gonna get another 1 million assists this year by just lobbying into Wemby and watching Wemby dunk it.
Smart. Smart.
hey, whatever it takes.
He is in the top 10 all-time assist, 2-time All-NBA third team, 5-time All-NBA second team, 7-time All-Defensive first team, 4-time All-NBA first team. He did win an MVP in 2013. Rookie of the Year, rookie first team. He was an AP All-American, and he made the All-Defensive second team 2 times. That's just his accolades. But famously never won a championship. One of those guys. He's kind of become his generation's Barkley in a way when it comes to that. And also apparently just a big dick.
Yeah, as we learned.
He has one or he is one.
No,
I don't know what he has. I just know he's basically been called one.
Though,
But it's because of him that I even thought about getting insurance.
Good to know.
I like Chris Paul. I think the Chris Paul story is a lot of fun. He's constantly chasing. I think it was a couple years ago he got really close too, right? It was like 2 or 3 seasons ago.
He's made the finals before. Yeah.
Yeah. His just chasing. That's a guy where you're like,
yeah.
oh my God, will you please just not like kind of in a negative way, like Jesus Christ, will you just win the championship and go away in a good way, in a positive way. No, Chris Paul has carved out a nice nice role for himself over the years, super competitive. And NFL side, I would look at that like a Frank Gore, where he's just consistently good, may never win the big one. He's maybe not the most exciting player year in, year out, but he's had a good lengthy career, and I think that's Hall of Fame worthy. I do. You don't last that long in a sport unless you're good or great,
especially when the point guard position itself has evolved and changed. Really kind of away from how Chris Paul plays. He doesn't really play like that. He's way more of a traditional, even like a half court type of point guard, and that's not really how the game's even done anymore. So I'd say even for that, I would say he gets it. And I mean, I am very biased. He's a North Carolina boy, so
he is the last true point guard.
Yeah,
in what our generation would consider a point guard.
Yeah, a person who actually tries to set up the team and run the team.
Yeah, I've argued many times with the younger generation on what a point guard is, and doesn't work out. But yeah, Chris Paul, he's automatically in my mind. I think if he I can't even talk. Even if he doesn't do the Rockets and the Suns, whatever that was with the Warriors last year, I think right after the Clippers, he still gets in.
I mean, he's also like one of the few players that I think that the NBA said no to a trade. Like the NBA literally stepped in and said, no, you cannot trade him to this team.
Because that would have been so good with him and Kobe.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Just think how fun that team would have been. Get him and Kobe together. And also I would not want to be on that team.
That is true.
He might have won his ring then.
He definitely would have had a good shot at it. That's for sure. Because that's when Kobe was still very good and Chris Paul was very good, and this is when Stern was still running the NBA, and he said nah, can't do that, so he went in Lob City instead.
Yeah, you would have definitely had probably the best shooting guard and the best point guard in the league on one team.
Yeah, so yeah, we all say Chris Paul gets in.
Chris Paul's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He's the Dan Marino is what you're saying.
He is.
Or the Matt Ryan.
Oof.
Or this guy.
Who? Oh, Matt. I think Matt does these just to make me mad sometimes.
What great transitions?
Yeah, just to infuriate Andrew.
Just to infuriate me.
I like to trigger him sometimes. It's kind of funny.
Matt and I have very vast differences on some things. We are good friends, but when it comes to certain players, we are very different on them.
Yeah, he's about to shoot this down. All right, so this is my favorite NFL player in the history of the NFL. All right, favorite player.
Oh, Antonio
I
Brown. I thought we picked him.
educated Johnny on him a couple years ago. We did an episode of Retro Pop on him. I'm
Oh, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers had a lengthy career, 17 years. He had 16 years with the San Diego Chargers, and he had 1 year with my Indianapolis Colts, giving them my favorite year in recent memory. So he's not the most well accomplished as far as accolades, and that's probably what's going to hurt him. He's never won a Super Bowl. He's actually never even played in a Super Bowl. And I think he's been to one AFC championship game. I think like a Chris Paul or a James Harden, his playoff numbers, he's failed. But again, it's not something I don't want to place squirrely on his shoulders because there are 21 other people starting at least. But he has a 63,440 passing yards and 421 touchdowns. Mind you, that's more than Dan Marino, too.
Oh, there we go. Different.
He is an
league, man.
eight-time. I'm really just like, I already know he's going to shoot him down, so I got to take my digs in.
I don't see a 5,000-yard passing season.
No, but he was a passing yards leader in, I think, 2010.
Oh, but I don't see 5,000. I don't see over 40 touchdowns in a season either.
Oh,
Thanks,
you don't?
Dan Marino did.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
but I will say, he has some of the best on-field chatter that I've ever heard.
Oh,
Sure
yeah.
does.
So
Actually-
he gets in for me just on that alone.
I scream 90-yard touchdown at 12-year-old kids whenever I play football in the front yard with my son and his friends. So,
Because of him, right?
yeah.
Hall of Fame. There you go. It's done. It's done. No discussion needed. No, he's an 8-time Pro Bowler. He did lead the passing yards in one of those years. It might have been 09 or 10. I think it was 10. I think Schaub was 09. But comeback player of the year in 2013. He never missed a game. And he played with a torn, was it ACL or
It was the
MCL?
ACL.
A torn ACL in the
It was
AFC
the
Championship
ACL.
game, and it was the undefeated Patriots year, right?
Yeah. Because that's Tomlinson was hurt too, but he wouldn't play, so he just sat on the sidelines with his helmet on.
Yeah, and Rivers played with a torn ACL, and they kind of came close to winning. But yeah, I adore Philip Rivers. He might not get in first ballot because I think somebody else retired the same year he did. No, actually, they didn't. I think somebody was rumored to retire and they never ended up doing it. So, and he actually comes up next. I think next year he's going to be qualified to be selected, and I would probably go to that Hall of Fame ceremony. But I say he's in. His lack of postseason success will probably hinder him when it comes to Hall of Fame selection. But regardless, whether it's first ballot or not, I do believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He's just statistically, he's better than Eli. He's a little bit behind Big Ben, but he's been really, really good. If you plug Philip Rivers on some of those Giants teams that Eli, where he was supposed to go, the Giants would possibly win at least one or two more. There was some really good Giant seasons. So Eli was a doofus. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. Yeah, I'm all in on Phil.
Oh no, man. I think Rivers always had the better roster.
He had some bad defenses. It's always kind of hurt him. He's had some rough offensive lines. He's had better skill position players. He's always had, whether it was Gates, Keenan Allen, Vincent Jackson, LaDainian Tomlinson. After Tomlinson, he had Melvin Gordon for a little bit.
Melvin Gordon and Ryan Matthews.
Yeah.
Could I tell you another thing about Philip Rivers?
Here we go.
All right. I know it's a team sport, but I'm just going to throw this out. The Chargers once went 8-8, and they led the team. They led the NFL
Yeah.
in both total offense and total defense. So they had the best offense and defense in the league, but they still only went 8-8.
Yeah, they were ranked number one in both those
Johnny's
categories, but Johnny, they had the worst special teams, and yeah, they missed the postseason.
That sounds like an incredible accomplishment. Like, I don't know how you do that.
It's just
That's impressive, honestly. As weird as that may sound, that's impressive to me. And he also gets in because, no offense to Dan Marino, but we never covered Dan Marino in Retro Pop.
Well, who saved Ace Ventura?
That's why it's a toss-up. They both get in my eyes. Well, Dan Marino did.
Dan Marino's in.
Yeah.
Was first
Well, you know
ballot.
what? You know what? Philip Rivers is a good Catholic boy. He's never sworn in his life. Dan Marino's an asshole.
Yeah, he does have an illegitimate child.
Fuck
But he
it,
does have
send
a
it in.
child with autism that he takes care of and he has a foundation for.
We like Dan Marino. We're not knocking Dan Marino here.
Yeah.
But Philip Rivers,
Yeah, I didn't just
don't-
call him an asshole 30 seconds ago.
you can
I
be
just
an
don't- I
asshole
don't-
and still do good things.
I don't know. He just doesn't give me that Hall of Fame feeling. Like there's certain guys that I hear and I'm like, yeah, that's a Hall of Fame. Like the minute Johnny said Chris Paul, I was like, that's a Hall of Fame. When it comes to Philip Rivers, there's just so many.
I feel like this is personal.
It's not
Does it?
personal.
No, it feels
mean,
personal.
If we're doing it by personality, Philip Rivers is like first ballot Hall of Famer right away.
That's when he gets in.
But if we're just doing it by what I see and what's going on, he's not first ballot. He might squeak in, but he's going to probably have to squeak in after Matt Ryan. So if he doesn't get in
Interesting.
this time, he'll have to.
You might have to wait a couple years because after that it's Ben
Yeah.
and Brady and then Matt Ryan and Lord knows. So
I hate to say it. He might be
might be out.
Do they only let
like,
like one quarterback in every year?
No, it's like a list of guys that get kind of like nominated. Then they
Yeah.
and then you got to get. I think it's almost like baseball where you got to get a certain percentage of the votes.
Oh, and then whenever somebody new is eligible, they might. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
what you're saying. Yeah.
There's been funny stories with the Hall of Fame, like where they've had the voters there and they're like, okay, next up is Peyton Manning. And a writer just stood up and was like, come on, guys, it's Peyton Manning. And they're like, okay, he's in. That's where the difference were, but Peyton and a lot of quarterbacks have raised a bar so high. And then you look at what quarterbacks are doing now, and he doesn't have that stamp on his resume. Like there's no MVP like a Matt Ryan.
Right.
Pro Bowls are Pro Bowls to me, but even then you got to look at, you knew pretty much Peyton and Brady were always making a Pro Bowl. Unless, that year that Peyton was hurt the whole entire year and Brady was hurt that whole entire year, you knew that there was going to probably be a spot. And I think I agree with Matt on that, is that there's certain quarterbacks that kill that down. And he doesn't have that mark on his resume. Like
Right.
Matt Ryan, I feel, is almost in the same way as Dan Marino. They both went to a Super Bowl. They lost the Super Bowl. They both have an MVP. They both have the stats.
That's fair.
Kind of that thing where Philip Rivers doesn't have that. He's in that, and it sounds good, but he's in that Ken Anderson. But Ken Anderson has an MVP and he's not in, but he's almost in that Ken Anderson type way of like everything is there. There's just kind of something missing. And even Ken Anderson made it to the Super Bowl. Maybe if Burt Jones had a healthy career.
Warren Moon.
Yeah,
Moon. Yeah.
Warren
Moon. Warren Moon. Yeah.
Warren Moon. Isn't that how you got the thing on your shoulder right there, Matt?
Yes.
Yes. You got the kid on your shoulder by Warren Monin.
Talk about Lincecum.
Yeah. But it's just something about him that I need like a little extra.
Fair.
I think he gets in because it'd make Matt happy, and I want Matt to be happy. So
That'll be the only Hall of Fame ceremony I ever go to.
So
if that
there.
happens.
I want it just for that.
Thank you.
Power of friendship. Hockey.
Here, this guy plays for the Carolina Hurricanes. I did a couple of three
All
Carolina.
right, he's already in.
He didn't always play for the Carolina Hurricanes. Here's another.
But he has played for them, and that's what's
he's
key.
playing
Here.
for them currently, right now.
All right, he's in.
It is Brett Burns, who is if I tell you his nicknames he's in right now. Two of his nicknames are Wookiee and Chewbacca.
Oh, yeah, he's
What
in.
are we discussing? What are we
Yeah, why is
discussing?
this? Why is this? You can literally, for me, stop there.
Okay, so Brett Burns has probably been the top one of the top this is good, offensive defensemen in the NHL. So far right now, he is still playing. Uh, as a defenseman, which is pretty good. He's got 255 goals, 626 assists, and 881 points, and his plus minus is for his career is a 4.
And I just looked at his profile picture. This guy gets in.
Johnny's going to hear.
I just found my new favorite hockey player.
So he does have,
He's like the Mick. He looks like Mick Foley in a way. Missing the teeth, but he's got great facial hair.
Mrs. Burns, baby boy. Bang bang.
So he is a 6-time All-Star.
Have a nice day.
2-time NHL. I don't know what this first team All-Star is.
Right here for the
Okay.
Carolina Hurricanes.
And he also won the James Norris Memorial Trophy for the top defensive player who demonstrates the greatest all-around ability at his position. So he does have an award. Do not believe he has not won a cup. Because he was also another one of those guys on those San Jose Shark teams where they were really good, but
I bet he's Ward one though.
I don't even know what that. So that is Mr. Brett Burns. Does he get in?
I'm very biased. I'm not even kidding. He gets in for me just on what I've seen and the nicknames, but I know that doesn't matter
This
really.
is another fun segment where you could do where Johnny's metric for Hall of Famers.
It's almost like Jackish.
Yeah. Oh, he's Southern Jack.
I'll take it as Jack has great
Isn't that in
opinions.
Tennessee?
Yeah. I think I'm in this guy. You said it was how long was the run? I'm sorry.
He's still playing what is it? 7 No. He's 20 years in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, the statistics, all the accomplishments. I mean, that's a long, long time. We know that hockey's a very physical sport. There are a lot of guys who do last a decent amount of time, but I think this guy will get in when his time comes.
Yeah, me too. Because, like I said, it's very rare. Well, I don't know about today. I haven't really watched too much hockey to be fair, but an offensive defenseman is something kind of special in a way. He started as a forward, but they moved him to defense, and that's kind of where he started to excel at. And if you're scoring about double-digit goals as a defenseman, you're really helping out your team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all bonus right there. Yeah, I say yes.
And yes, he's in.
All right. Now we're going to go to baseball, which I am very jealous of Matt still living in Western New York at this point, because this guy will be playing against the Buffalo Bisons. Mr. Joey Votto, who played 17 seasons with the Cincinnati Reds. This is another very interesting case. He is still playing, but only in the minor leagues. He does have a career hits.
We should win them playing against all his children.
He's good. Hits, he has 2,135. Home runs, 356, and a career batting average of 294. He has not been called up this year, so.
Is this the only year he hasn't been called up?
Yeah, because he's 40. So
yeah, that's tough. Some guys break through.
I think he's still in this because of the love of the game.
Yeah.
They showed him out there. They were like, hey, Joey Votto showing the young kids how to do things. Like he was the first one out there doing the warm ups and everything.
Yeah, showing all those minors how to do it. No.
Yeah. So he is a 6-time All Star, one-time NL MVP, and he also has a Hank Aaron Award and a Gold Glove Award.
I'm leaning towards, yeah. I don't think the minor league thing is a stain on his career. Some guys it's just how it is. I mean, I've been doing these MLB players and other jerseys stuff, and a lot of the people I've been posting lately they legit signed minor league contracts and were called up at certain points towards the end of their career. So I don't think it's a knock at all with that. I think the stats prove it, his longevity proves it, his accolades prove it. This guy, when his time is it, how long post retirement is selection for baseball? Is it 5 years like football?
I think it's 5 or 7 as well.
Okay, and I don't see this guy having an issue getting in.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree for sure. I mean, still playing baseball when you're still playing any sport when you're 40 is impressive to me.
Yeah, it's 5 seasons, and they have to appear in at least 10 major league seasons to be eligible for a ballot.
Okay.
So Tim Lincecum actually just made the cut.
Yeah. I think the love of the game helps. I couldn't imagine being at like the top of my game, playing in front of like tens of thousands of MLB fans. And like, I don't know if I could emotionally handle being like going to play for the Bisons or some other like small time team. But the fact that he's still doing it and kicking it is like, it's pretty admirable.
I think it's a love of the game thing because he was after, I don't know if the Reds cut him or his contract was just up and they didn't re-sign him. He took like a video and he put it up on, I don't know, Twitter or whatever. And it was him going through a car wash when spring training was going on. And he was like, I shouldn't be here right now. I should be on a baseball field. And that's where I think the Blue Jays were like, throw him some minor league money. He can still play. +2, you get kind of that experience. Like if I could get a guy like Joey Votto helping my minor leaguers, he was like in AA. He wasn't even in AAA at one point. He just got promoted to AAA.
Right.
I think this is more,
which is really helpful anytime you break down.
Yes. Well,
and he's 40.
AA is good too if you're an alcoholic.
Oh, AA is really good. I'm constantly putting those in controllers.
And a spine buster. AA is
really good. Now we're talking.
But I think that's where it's at, is just more of a love of the game type thing. Like I don't think he needs the money or anything. It's just he
just loves baseball.
Yeah. I want to play baseball, which I think, even though I kind of made fun of it earlier, I think kind of helps you get in.
I think so too. Yeah. All right. Speaking of love of the game, I'll see that and raise you Kevin Love.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, we're going to talk Kevin Love now. One of my favorite basketball players, this is a big accolade for him. I'm sure he talks about this all the time, but he's the only McFarland figure that I have of basketball is Kevin Love. And it's when he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 2-time All-NBA second team, most improved player, all rookie second team. He was an AP All-American. He has won championships. And people forget when he was in Minnesota, literally had a season where he averaged 20 points and 15 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
And he was known to put up a 30-30, which is incredible. That's another feat too, to be able to put up 30 points and 30 rebounds. He sort of started, he didn't perfect it, but and he didn't start it, but he certainly got really good at it. He really changed his career when he learned how to shoot a three. So it really opened it up for him because he kind of came in as the league was, for the big man, was starting to evolve. And he kind of really benefited from that. I'm very biased with him. He's in for me, but I wanted to raise it. But I think he's a really good discussion for this, because he does have the accolades, but in fairness, he's obviously nowhere near the player that he was now, and he's still playing.
Right. This is true. He was on some of those Cleveland teams, right? With
Yeah, that's where he won his
LeBron.
Yeah, that's where he won his
That's where he won his
championship.
championship. I remember him being kind of the workhorse kind of guy, like doing the dirty work a little bit. I remember just
I
a
remember when
lot
he
of
was
high praise for him.
playing against somebody's Celtics, and they pulled his arm out of the socket.
Oh, here
Those
we go.
those dirty Celtics.
Let me go
Rotten
cry. Let
human
me go cry in
beings.
one of our many banners, Johnny.
That's why you have them. You sit there and play like a bunch of dicks. But hey, get your
I would
banners.
put
Yeah.
I would put Kevin Love on our team, but I don't think we have any numbers left over after we retired so many from all the Hall of Famers we have.
Probably, yeah, you're probably right.
I'm all in. I think I'm in on Kevin Love. He's had a fun career. Uh, you said he slowed down a little bit in these
Yeah.
recent years, and I haven't heard much about him. But there was a nice stretch where even on the outside looking in, like Kevin Love was that dude.
He
Well,
had,
even in Miami, where he's currently at, he still has spurts where, I mean, he's coming off the bench, but he still has moments where like he's really helping the team, and they need him really bad. So,
fuck Miami.
oh yeah, I forgot your Celtics. Yeah,
He went through like a bad mental health thing, didn't he? At one point,
yeah, yes,
That's
yeah.
where-
He's a big advocate for mental health too.
I like he
Yeah.
was
So
good
shit
in-
on that, Andrew.
he,
You backed him into a corner on that one.
I'll shit on anything. Get your head straight, Kevin Love.
He did, and he's well respected. Apparently, like he's a beloved teammate.
I just feel like he needed to go to Cleveland to get the championship.
Yeah, but
Then
but that's because LeBron kind of forced it. It wasn't him doing it.
yeah, but then LeBron gets his dirty little fingers on power forwards. Like look at Chris Bosh. Okay. Like Chris Bosh, Raptor Chris Bosh.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
It was incredible. And then it was like LeBron was like, hey, be the second fiddle with me and Dwayne Wade. And they were
No,
like,
he's a third fiddle, but he got
oh, yeah,
championships
third
out of
fiddle.
it.
Be the third fiddle. And then this is kind of where I felt that. I think that's where I'm at is I feel so much anger for LeBron underutilizing. And I could say LeBron, you could be like, oh, well, that's the Heat. No, we all know who it was in Miami, and that's why LeBron left because LeBron needs control.
Yeah.
Got his dirty little fingers on Bosh, ruined Bosh, and I feel like he ruined Kevin Love a little bit too. Like there wasn't that same, and maybe because he didn't have to carry that team, but I didn't feel it was like the same Kevin Love in Cleveland. I think he still most likely will get in, but I just don't think it's as 100% as it was if he would have kept on going with Minnesota. Like in Minnesota, you can be like, oh, well, he has the stats, but he doesn't have a championship.
Yeah, but also at the
Good
same time, we get mad at players who won't kind of change their game to play with the new team they're on. We'll get mad at them for not doing that. So I mean, we kind
That's
of
a good point.
Yeah,
and he had to do that. That's when he could have came in and still claimed to be the Minnesota Kevin Love and be like, hey, I'm a 30-10 player. I better get the ball. But he knew he was on the team with LeBron James and even Kyrie Irving, who would get the ball before him, and he adjusted. So,
I think it's
and to me, that's also a big deal that he could do that.
LeBron just got his dirty little fingers on power forwards and ruins them. I will stand by that till the day I die. But yeah, Kevin Love.
Watch out, Unibrow.
Is going to be a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he's the one. I don't want to play center. I want to play power forward. Don't get me started on that guy too. Glass man. There's a guy at my wife's work. She goes, he's great when he comes into work. I go, what's his name? Anthony Davis. You got Anthony Davis working for you?
Oh, there's so many players you could use there. Kawhi Leonard.
Oh,
what's his name? Kawhi Leonard.
I always go right to Anthony Davis. I swear, if I ever had to meet the brow in public, it would be bad for me because well, no, he couldn't punch me because he'd probably break his hand because it's made of glass.
But he gets in. Kevin Love gets in, I think.
I say
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Football. We are going to this one's a kind of fun one. He's connected to Phillip Rivers' career. Their careers were basically swapped. And I just called him a doofus last time I talked. Eli Manning is my next choice, the quarterback for the New York Football Giants. two-time Super Bowl champ, two-time Super Bowl MVP, 57,023 passing yards, 366 touchdowns. Um, his the biggest knock on him is always that he like Philip, like if you say like Philip Rivers like was never like that dude.
Yeah.
Eli Manning was really never that dude until he hit the playoffs. Like he was a completely different player. Like if he got to the playoffs, you were kind of worried about him. Like you didn't want to play against him because he was just a different animal during the postseason. Like one of the most famous moment, the helmet catch, he's scrambling and he escapes like getting sacked. He's completely surrounded. Um, so he's good in that regard. But as far as like regular season stuff, he's
Pretty garbage.
pretty mid.
Mid.
Like I think he's top 10 in passing yards. I think he's just in. He might be 10 or 9. I had it up before, but yeah, like outside of that, like his career has been kind of like,
Do you think he's kind of actually hurt by his last name?
he's
No,
all hurt by being Peyton's brother.
Yeah.
I don't.
Hot.
I mean, he could be as good as he is, but people could say he was not his brother.
Right.
I don't.
Possibly he won 2 before Peyton,
Yeah.
which I always found intriguing.
Yeah,
And
but I
again,
guarantee
one
you,
more-
most people don't think about that though. Most
Yeah,
people think,
Well, it depends if you're like me, where you're never was a big Peyton Manning guy, and he does have one more Super Bowl MVP than his brother,
That's true.
and he's never lost a Super Bowl, and his brother has lost 2.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I was also just looking. He's got his career record as a QB. I think QB record is a terrible stat, but he's 500. He's 117 and 117.
Yeah, there's not too many double-digit wins when you look at his quarterback record. I'm checking.
No, it's like
out.
3 or 4 seasons, maybe.
But-
I think 5.
but I will say this: like, if you just said his name, I would have been, I would have assumed he was already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's eligible. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, but
I think he's eligible this year. Maybe Rivers is
He-
another year.
he retired after 2019.
Yeah.
So what is that? 5? Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be
Oh.
this upcoming year. So that's my fault. Rivers is the following year.
Okay. So
Like I feel like because of his Super Bowl accomplishments and again,
that's-
kind of changing the game, like he prevented one of the greatest teams of all time to not have a perfect season. Like him just pulling magic from somewhere is the reason why Tom Brady and the 07 Patriots are not 19, right? 19-0 would have been
19.
19-0 Super Bowl champions. Like
More than that. Wait, would have been that was 16 game season. Yeah, they would have been like 19.
they were the 1 seed, so divisional round,
Yeah,
conference championship, Super Bowl. So they finished 18-1. He is the one in 18-1. So
A lot of wrestling references today. I
Yeah,
love it.
they sure are. So because of
he's
that, I
in.
say yes. But if he didn't have the Super Bowl accomplishments,
he's
I
no
don't
winner.
think he'd get. I don't think he'd sniff the.
I can't
unless he was
stress-
a quarterback in the 70s, no way.
Yeah,
I can't stress enough how much I hate the Patriots. So I'm the fact that he did that, he wins for me and he gets in on that alone.
I don't mind the Patriots. And they were in my same division. Look at that 2013 season where he threw 18 touchdowns and 27 interceptions.
I like the Patriots now that they suck. They're great.
Uh
I feel about the Bills. Like I like them when they're not great, but when they're really good, I can't stand them.
I
Now they're starting to fall. They're starting to fall apart a little bit, and I'm like, let's go Buffalo.
nope.
Yeah.
I don't do it. Not gonna do it. Never.
You're both like Sith.
Listen.
You just breathe on the hate.
When both my dad and my uncle were diehard Bills fans. And when my dad died, they were like, "Are you gonna root for the Bills?" Nope. Not gonna do it. Can't do it. My uncle and everyone, the whole family was like,
George
"We
Bush
want-
over there.
we want-
Not gonna die.
we they were like, we're all gonna root for the Bills. Even my uncle Scott, who hates the Bills, was like, you know what, I'm gonna root for him. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for Bernie. They looked at me and I was like, can't do it. Just can't. Just can't do it. I can never root for the Bills, and fuck the Jets too. But
A lot of strong sports opinions coming out today.
yeah, if you want to hear strong sports opinions, get me on like football and stuff. Ask Matt. I will go 2 hours.
I just did. It. We're talking about football right now. I just
Yeah.
did.
No,
Very
like
strong.
I'm talking about just throw a name out there and see how I feel about him. But Eli, I love Eli. I've felt a nice kindred spirit within Eli because I am the youngest brother. He's the youngest brother. But those two Super Bowl MVPs, that's the big thing, is the Super Bowl MVPs. Even
Yeah.
though some guys get them this sometimes where you're like, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Two Super Bowl MVPs, that helmet catch, that wonderful pass that he threw to Mario Manningham,
Yeah, the sideline one.
the sideline one in 2011. I think he probably just squeaks in, and that's what gets him over Matt Ryan and Philip Rivers.
Yeah.
It's two Super Bowl MVPs and those two moments. Like there's moments with them. I mean, Philip Rivers does have moments, but it's like a mic'd up moment.
Yeah, it's not like an on field like Eli's had. I completely agree.
So that's where I think Eli definitely
Probably the most rewatched Super Bowl play of all time.
yeah.
So
That and oh well, for me it's Super Bowl 25, Scott Norwood.
For me, it's when that nipple slipped.
But yeah, I think Eli gets in by the skin of his teeth.
All right, very good.
All right. On to Le Hockey. I'm gonna go with my boy here, Claude Giroux. Still playing. He's got a lovely 17-year career going, mostly with the Philadelphia Flyers. So in his career so far, he's got 350 goals and 716 assists for 1,066 points. Plus minus is 24. Award wise, we are looking at Mr. Giroux. He's a 7-time All-Star. Some like he's won the Bobby Clark Trophy, which is like the MVP for the Flyers, and that's pretty much it. He was also the EA Sports NHL 13 cover athlete, but that's nothing. But does Mr. Giroux get in? And he's kind of in the same boat as Mr. Pavelski there, where it looks like the stats are there. He only has 2 less points than Pavelski.
That's close enough to say yeah. I'm leaning towards yeah. One, because we've said yeah to just about everybody here, and two, because I think he does have the stats and career, accolades to get in. So I think I would say yeah.
He's still putting points.
I'm going to agree, but also that made me think of we should do a future episode on players that for some reason you wouldn't think so, but they got a cover of a video game. Like I automatically I'm thinking Mitch Richmond right off my top of my head.
Wait, Hillis.
That's a good one.
Could somebody remember some of these and then text them to me when we're done?
I already forgot. Yeah. What are we talking about?
I cleaned my desk, so I don't have my notebook next to me anymore.
Oh man.
Yeah, all right, how bad that is for the whole entire world.
That's the only reason that I'm able to keep up with stuff because Andrew does. I'm writing it down in my notes in my phone. Okay. So go ahead. So we all agree he gets in. Let's go on to baseball.
All right, baseball. Here's another pitcher, Zach Greinke. I don't believe he is playing anywhere right now. He's got a nice 20-year career. 225 wins to 156 losses. Career ERA is a 349. And I should have did this with Lincecum too, has looked at their strikeouts. Where is the K? Where's the big K? I hate all these new stats. Can I put that out there too? Can we simplify stats? Because I'm like looking at stuff like ERA plus and H9s, and I don't see an S and an O, but I see an S/W. All right, so I don't know how many strikeouts this guy had, but
Let me strike some walks, I guess. Is that what that'd be?
you know what? I think so, or
So
maybe
it
wins.
Oh, yeah, it could be wins. That also starts with a W. You're right.
No, I think it is walks because it could also be SOBB. Look at Johnny with the baseball stat knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's goes along with pitching if you walk somebody.
All right, so strikeouts.
Not to brag, but I know how baseball works.
So strikeouts, he's almost got 3,000 strikeouts. And accolades, he's a 6-time All-Star, and then they started this all MLB thing, which I think is stupid. Second team all MLB. He was a Cy Young winner, 6-time Gold Glove winner. Oh, as a pitcher? Am I looking at the right guy? 2-time Silver Slugger?
What do we even? Yeah, this dude's in.
2-time and a 2-time MLB ERA leader.
Yeah, what are we even discussing here?
Yeah, Zach Greinke's in.
Yeah.
I want to see how many strikeouts Lincecum had in his 10-year career compared to this.
Hey, you guys keep going. I have to use the bathroom and unlock the door for my mother to come here and watch Bennett. So
Okay.
you guys keep trucking on. I'll fill in.
Okay.
Yeah. Lincecum only had 1,700. So, all right. So Zach Greinke's in.
Yeah, I think so. Right.
Yeah. Never really looked at his stats before, but I was like, damn, those are pretty good.
That's happened to me before too, where I'm like, I know his XYZ player is very good, but then I actually look up their stats and like, oh man, actually they're way even better than I thought they were.
Yeah. I was pretty amazed by just looking at that.
Yeah, that's impressive. Impressive stuff.
Or,
do we wait on him to come back, or should I just truck on with who I got next?
we could just truck on.
Okay. I'm gonna let's go with Russell Westbrook here for this one, or as some people like to say, I'm not one of those people. Westbrook, not necessarily the best shooter ever, for sure. But he's going into his 15th season. 2-time All-NBA third team, 5-time All-NBA second team, MVP, 2-time first team, multiple All-Star games, even 2-time All-Star game MVP. One of the few players ever besides Oscar to average a triple-double in a season, which I think is very impressive. I've always been a Westbrook apologist. I know he's a very divisive guy as well. But also, if he ends up signing with the Nuggets, like they say he's going to, I think it's like a perfect fit for him in this point of his career.
Yeah.
And it'll be a great backup to Jamal Murray. So I personally like Westbrook. I think he's vilified when he doesn't necessarily need to be. Apparently seems to be like a really cool dude, with all things considered.
The thing with him is this: a lot of people have accused him of stat padding.
Yeah, but I mean, in the NBA,
Russell Westbrook? Is this Westbrook?
Yeah, see, yeah,
Awesome.
That was a complete shot in the dark.
Yeah. Matt just joined in and literally just heard that last part and who we were talking about.
Leave it in this.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that, but I would also argue that it's still very difficult and hard to average a triple double, even if you're quote unquote statting your pats.
I always stat my pat.
Here, I'm statting Pats right now on Benny's back.
There you go.
Statting pats on Benny's back.
That's a storybook right there. That's a song.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Man, I'm gonna erase that out of here so you can market that, Matt, and make millions of dollars.
I'll give you permission. Just buy me a car or something.
Yeah, I got you.
But I think he gets in. I think he's very good. The fact that despite how people feel about it when it comes to the stats that he has, those stats are still pretty dang good. And it's very, very hard to average a triple double. And he's starting to, I think for me, one of the bigger knocks on him is as he's getting on to the latter part of his career is would he accept becoming not being the number one option, and I think he's starting to. And if he goes to the Nuggets, I think it's going to be perfect for him. So I think he gets in personally.
I think he gets in. He's earned my respect over the years just because he has realized he is not OKC Russell Westbrook, and he's just going to do what he can to help the team win.
Yeah.
Making less money, doing all that stuff.
I never
Those
once,
early days were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was going to say, I was just another reason I like him is I never once felt like he was taking a play off. He was, even if he couldn't shoot, he was trying his ass off.
He's like a Brett
Yeah, dude's a
guy
dog.
without the dick pics.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I completely missed that. But
Oh, I said he's like a Brett Favre player without the dick pics
oh,
because he never took a play off.
that's true. Oh, jeez. He's good. He's really good. I think the fun thing is Westbrook and Harden are so comparable. I always admire that Westbrook stuck it out in OKC a lot longer than he probably should have.
Yeah.
Because right, that was the thing is that after Durant and Harden kind of left, Westbrook was the dude, and they were still putting up some good numbers,
I mean, that's when he averages triple doubles after those guys had left.
and he was being competitive. I say yes, man. He's an upper echelon, kind of guy, and he hasn't won yet, right? He hasn't won a championship yet.
Correct. Yeah.
I still think he's that good. I still think he's good enough to, he's played so well that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. That's kind of where I'm at. Again, even back then, back during those days where he was the guy in OKC, outside looking in, Russell Westbrook, and this dude's just triple, throwing 3-pointers like crazy, and yeah, he's good. So yeah, I'm all in on the Hall of Fame.
And I'm also very partial to a small guy who's a power slam dunker. So
Yeah,
and that's what he is.
I get that. All right, so I guess I'm up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, this one's probably. We'll see where you guys take it on this one.
Ooh.
This is interesting. I don't think you know who's coming up. I don't think you know. He is a current Colts quarterback. Okay, but he's the backup. Joe Flacco is the next one.
Mr. Elite.
Mr. Elite Joe Flacco. This guy's interesting. He's interesting. Super Bowl champion in 2013, the 13-14 season. He actually had one of the best playoff runs of all time for a quarterback. I think statistically speaking, touchdowns, passing yards, he put up some big numbers. And he did all this while betting on himself for a new contract too. His total yardage is a little low. 43,936 yards and 245 passing touchdowns. He was drafted in 2008. But like I said, Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP. And
Was he the MVP?
He was, yep. And just last year, he was the 2023 AP Comeback Player of the Year. He got signed by the Cleveland Browns towards the end of the season and went on just an absolute tear. Went 4-1 as a starter, literally just coming off the couch. Over 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 INTs. Flacco's interesting because he's also been on some bad teams. The Ravens aren't really good at roster building. And there was a long stretch where Flacco did not have like a wide receiver one. And even the running game was a little bit, I would say, questionable. Like great defenses, elite defenses, but as far as building an offense, they've never really been good until, I mean, Jesus, maybe even this last year, where
Ray Rice was a knockout running back.
Who?
Ray Rice was a knockout running back for them.
Black and Decker.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best fantasy draft moments of all time, or retro draft moments of all time.
I forgot about that.
That was awesome. But yeah, the Flacco's an interesting case because there's been a lot. He's been injured a lot the back portion of his career, but there's some really, really good years in there. I think a lot of people lean towards when it comes to him being in the Hall of Fame. but there were some high highs, and he's stuck around a lot longer than maybe people thought, and for good reason too.
I'm looking at something here, and I say no just by looking at it. He has never passed for, and this could be like you did mention the wide receiver.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, I'm just noticing now.
He never threw 30 touchdowns in a season.
Or more than 4,000 yards.
One time he hit 4,000.
Oh, I see. 2016. My fault.
Yeah. That's where I'm at on Flacco with being no.
Here's the thing. Has Johnny heard of this player? I think that's a good indicator if they should get.
I'm not gonna lie, that does for once make 100% sense to me on that one.
Every player before this that Matt's brought up, I've obviously heard of. This one, I don't think I've heard of Flacco.
I think he's a very
There's a case.
player.
There's a case. He's had a very weird. He's like Eli Manning minus the Super Bowls.
He almost feels like
Pretty
one of those. We were talking earlier about those players who have like a flashpoint in their careers where like they're it, but it's like it doesn't last very long.
Yeah, flash in the pan. I could certainly agree. He's elite Jay Cutler. And Andrew will understand that reference. Like he's like Jay Cutler if Jay Cutler won Super Bowls and had a little bit more success and maybe cared a little bit more.
I'm not even gonna lie. I think Jay Cutler has almost a better Hall of Fame resume at some points.
I love Jay Cutler. I can't believe I heard those words out of your mouth.
Let me look at Jay Cutler again before I would go 100% up. Jay Cutler's never thrown for you know what? Flacco has a better one because Jay Cutler's never thrown for 30 touchdowns in a season either. And he's only thrown for 4,000 yards once. So yeah, okay. Flacco does have a better resume.
Yeah. So yeah, Flacco, I thought that was gonna be one of my most interesting ones. Probably leaning towards the no side. I talk about 60-40 guys. He's probably on the side of 40.
Well, you know the big difference between Flacco and Cutler, right? Flacco got off the couch. Jay Cutler, his big knock from his ex-wife was that he was lazy and he just laid on the couch all day.
Yeah, he retired after a long, painful football career.
Yeah, I don't see what the problem is there.
And then he told her to get a job.
Yeah.
Good.
She's one of those.
This is equality. You get the job too, lady.
Do you know how his wife got famous?
I have no idea.
Do you remember Laguna Beach on MTV?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
She was on there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kristen Cavalier or something like that.
Cavallari. Cavallari. That was a show. And Cutler was the star on it and barely had any screen time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another podcast idea. Like shows where reality shows where that featured an athlete, but it wasn't about the athlete.
Yeah, like the Bellas.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I watched the Bellas to see what Daniel Bryan was like. That's the truth.
I really like John Cena. I like his house rules. I know nobody else.
Yeah, he was weird.
I really liked that he laid down the law. I was like,
yeah,
this is the guy that I like. Can he come live with me? Because I need him to do this to my kids.
He's like the white David Goggins.
You know what? I still don't even know who David Goggins is.
Get the fuck. Oh God,
I'm so out of it.
You should know. He's a military guy.
Fucking General Mantis, Chesty Puller,
Major Payne.
I know who Major Payne is. Bam Bam Bigelow is a Major Payne.
Yes, he was. He was a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Joe Flacco gets in.
All right, fuck you. Moving on.
Okay. Next one is Mr. Carolina Hurricane himself.
He's in.
Eric Stahl.
No, you can go.
20-year or 18-year career. Goals 455. He's got 608 assists and 1,000 63 points with a minus 83.
He's in.
Uh, he is a Stanley Cup champion with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
6-time All-Star as well. And he was an EA Sport Cover athlete.
There we go.
All-Star Game MVP.
I still think it's an incredible stat that out of all the pro sports teams of North Carolina, this hockey team's the only one that's ever won anything. That's just so incredible.
You know what, Andrew? I don't have short-term memory loss or anything. I remember what you said about Mr. Joe Flacco approximately 45 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And this guy couldn't even put on Joe Flacco's jock strap. Oh my God.
I don't think that's the case.
This is a no. Has Joe Flacco ever had a negative 83 plus minus?
Well, I saw some interesting stats on Mr. Flacco.
Is it a football stat? No, therefore he's never had it. This
Well,
guy
let's
does
not
not
compare. Let's not compare jock straps. Some people are just different sizes.
I'm gonna say for Mr. Stahl, I think he gets it.
You had me at
Carolina.
Yeah.
Wait until you see my last one I got for you.
Oh boy. There's a part of me that wants to be a dick and say no, but there's also
save your dickness for whoever his last one is.
yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, because that's gonna hurt the most. If you really want to hurt me, save it for the last one.
There you go.
Like
See?
I don't know. You get one All-Star and then you're a cup winner on a team. Like that's a team accomplishment.
Yeah, but I think he was the captain.
Hey, it's a big deal.
That is pretty cool.
What no, I don't think you wait. No, he wasn't the captain on that team.
All right, he's out.
Way to go, Andrew. You should just wait with it.
No, because I gotta see it.
I would have never known.
All right. So 2 yeses and 1 no.
Yeah. Just because of shitty Mr. Elite Joe Flacco.
Hey, I love this. This is the best part is the pettiness. I can't wait to be petty one day.
Yeah. Who's your baseball guy?
My baseball
Not getting in.
My baseball guy is Mookie Betts, and he's been in the league for 11 years. Okay. And in those
all right, he's in. Yeah, I can't argue with this. I'd already know.
Yeah. And this is 11 years. Okay. So he's probably only about maybe halfway done, a little bit more halfway done. He's got 1,571 hits, 262 home runs, and a career batting average of 295. This year, before he got hurt, he already had 86 hits, 10 home runs, and he was batting 304. RBI's career, 296. I think, yeah, Mr. Mookie Betts is going to make the Hall of Fame. Let me just read off some of his other stuff. 8-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, AL MVP, 3-time All MLB first team, second team, 6-time Silver Slugger, 6-time Gold Glove winner. What is the 6-time Fielding Bible Award?
Oh, it's when you're able to.
Johnny, that's all. That's up Johnny.
Yeah, it's just when you're able to like read a Bible verse as you're catching a baseball. It's pretty impressive.
Okay. Well, it says here recognizes the best defensive player for each fielding position in Major League.
Now, what I don't know is it King James or is it
New
I
Testament?
even had to read it twice. I wasn't even quite sure that
Old Testament.
it's the rainbow version.
Here's the thing, too. I mean, we're not even talking about this aspect of it. Usually, bets in baseballs is frowned upon, but in this case, it's a good thing.
Plays with Otani too. He's a 2-time Wilson Defensive Player of the
Year. Pete Rose bets on baseball and he's out.
AL, he's an AL batting champ, 3 times run scored leader, and he's in the 30 club. So he's had at least 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases.
I like 30-30 club. He's in the 30-30s.
I think Mookie.
He's in.
Yeah.
He's
I remember being controversial when he left Boston. I remember that being a big deal. To go to LA. Yeah, I think Mookie Betts is one of the best players of this generation. And when his
Oh, we lost you.
Lost you.
my cord got unplugged. My
Okay.
fault.
There you are.
When his time comes to retire and possibly get in the Hall of Fame, who knows when that'll be? I think it'll be first ballot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I just
All right.
really looked at his stats.
Okay, I wanted to bring up somebody who was maybe way more on the fence too about getting in. He's currently going into his 12th season in the NBA. All NBA second team, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, 4-time All NBA third team, 5-time All Defensive second team. He's won the Most Improved Player award too. He might have some of the best hairstyles in the when it comes to getting your picture taken in the NBA. And he also might be one of the most like hard to figure out people in the NBA. Jimmy Butler.
Oh.
Ooh. Okay.
Who'd you think I was talking about, Andrew?
I almost, when you said hard to deal with, I was going Kyrie.
I would even say he's hard to deal with, though. I think Spoelstra would argue that.
I thought maybe Kawhi was gonna come up. Leonard.
I brought him up last time. That's the only reason he didn't come up this time.
Fair.
You brought up all those accolades. I thought you were talking about Peyton Pritchard, the GOAT.
God.
I love how Kawhi got his USA basketball pictures taken. Then is like, you know what? I'm not gonna go.
Well, I think USA Basketball told him.
I think they told him to beat it.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, they found out his knee was way worse than he was letting on. So,
fair.
Yeah.
Still funny.
Oh, definitely very funny. But Jimmy Butler, if people don't know, he's had a history of whenever at the first of the season they take your picture in the NBA to use on different stuff, and he always makes sure he has a great hairstyle for that. So, but also, and he'll have a season where like he's obviously the guy in Miami, but he'll also tell his coach, "Hey, let's go outside and fight."
He's very head.
That's admirable.
At some point,
he's what?
Very head casey at certain points. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's kind of hard.
Where he did that whole blowout.
Yeah, he's very hard to figure out. Yeah, but it's really, really tough to deny, like how good he can be. But I don't think he's consistent.
And I think the other thing that kills him is, in a way, he's almost like in that Phillip Rivers type mold because he's in such. I mean, he plays small forward.
I thought he was going to say he's Catholic. I didn't know that.
No, I wouldn't call Jimmy Butler Catholic. If he is, he's not practicing. Like he's in that small forward category where you can always name another small forward better. I mean, example, LeBron.
Yeah.
Like LeBron's always there, so you got to remove him. You go to the next small forward, Kevin Durant. I mean, but the way that he plays though, like you said, he just excels in the playoffs so wonderfully because as I get pointed all the time, he had Jimmy Butler, the Celtics would have never made it. But they didn't. Okay, they didn't.
Sports are filled with what ifs.
I
think he might be a little hurt too by the fact that in this part of his career, he's definitely way more. I mean, while it's obviously a positive thing when in the long run, he's way more of a playoff player than he is a regular season player.
Yeah, I think that might help him a little. Like that run that they did, the 2 runs to the finals.
Yeah, he's got the accolades. Like he's got the accolades to do it, and maybe I don't know how much longer he's gonna play, so that could help him out in the long run. Man, I feel like it's a little too. It might. Oh no, he's been around a lot longer than I've realized.
Yeah, 12 seasons already.
Yeah, I think he has the accolades to get in. I do.
I think he's more borderline than maybe not first ballot.
Let's do a what if he, for whatever reason, they do win, he wins a championship before he retires.
Oh yeah,
probably
because it's gonna be good. Because it's gonna be because of him. I can't even talk.
Yeah.
That's why he gets in.
Yeah,
He's gonna be
he's
the-
that one player who I'll be like, man, I don't care. I don't think Jimmy Butler's that good. And then I'll actually watch him actually play, and he'll make the most ridiculous shots. I'll be like, oh, well, yeah, he is actually
Yeah.
good.
I watched him a couple years ago against the Celtics, and
Yeah, me too. He
over
made some
Brian's
amazing
house.
shots against those Celtics.
Oh,
Oh my
here we
gosh.
go.
He didn't win, but he was
NBA
good.
champion, Boston Celtics.
It took him a while to get there. They had to get past.
Why do we call
Miami
them
to
the
do it.
Celtics and not the Celtics?
Great question.
Because Red doesn't want it that way. Damn it,
Celtics, the Boston Celtics.
Celtics.
That's what I said. Celtics. I think he is borderline too. But
Yeah, because a
And
lot
I
of
do-
people are asking if Drew Holiday is a Hall of Famer, and I can't even answer that. And if I can't answer it for if Drew Holiday, if you're saying Drew Holiday is, then Jimmy Butler is. But if you're saying Drew Holiday is probably most likely, definitely borderline. But Jimmy Butler, I don't think
Drew Holiday also has multiple championships now
that is true.
with different teams that he was a major part of.
Yeah. So he's probably more of a Hall of Famer than Jimmy Butler is.
I would say if you're asking me which one I think gets in easier, as of right now, as of if we did it today, as of right now, I'm going to go Holiday. But if you're going to go wait till both their careers are done, I think there's a chance if Jimmy Butler ever gets a championship, then I think I'd say yes to him quicker than Holiday, just because he does both the defense and the scoring. Drew Holiday, while he can score,
he does a lot more defense.
he's way more on defense. Yeah. So I say borderline with he probably does get in eventually.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. One of the big names of this kind of era.
Yeah.
I would certainly say.
And possibly Michael Jordan's love child. Did you ever hear the rumors?
There's all kinds of rumors. That's the other thing Jimmy Butler's great with is the rumors about Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, him and that Rachel was it Nichols?
Yes, that's what I was about to bring up. Yeah. Nobody knows allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly. I get it. I get it. I
yeah,
totally get it.
yeah. She's an attractive lady.
She's the reason why I liked watching the NBA.
Yeah, I get it. 100% understand. All right, football.
Football. Okay, so my last entry is my only currently active player. I talked about him last time we recorded, but Matthew Stafford. Actually, his name is John Matthew Stafford, but he doesn't use the John. He's a phony.
He has to use the John. I mean, he's a human being.
So Andrew hates Matthew Stafford.
I just there's okay.
I hate anybody whose first name is John and they don't like their first name being John.
Yeah, John and Matthew. Yeah, he's
Damn,
literally
he's really screwing you guys.
Yeah, this guy should be like our favorite, but what's up with him?
Can't ruin two of my best friends' names like that.
Yeah.
Wrong.
That's not even the angle I was going with, but
that son of a bitch.
I'm done.
Because Andrew's nickname has always been Pat Statford.
Thanks
because
for
he's
Rob
rude
Parker.
and he's jealous.
Because
but Matthew Stafford has had a long, interesting career.
Joe Flacco's had better completion percentage than this guy.
He may have, but hey, that's what happened when you're on the Lions.
He had
for most
Calvin
of your-
Johnson.
Yeah, and he didn't always have Calvin Johnson.
And the older you
For
get, the
1
harder
year.
the older you get, the harder it is to go to completion.
Pretty
That's-
much for 1 year.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, there's
He's
sometimes
had a-
where I just
1
kind
or
of just
2
quit.
years.
I just quit midway. It's because I'm 40 now, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm just kind of done with this, and I just put up my shame and go about my day.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Rob Parker of the Detroit. I believe he writes for the Detroit Free Press. Nicknamed him that, and I was like, that is a great nickname.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Stanford's an interesting case. He spent most of his career with the Lions. He's, like I said, he's still active. He was drafted number 1 overall in 2009, 12 years with Detroit, and then he's going into his 4th season with the Rams, and he's looked pretty damn good. I gotta say, he's like, people love to talk about Mahomes and the no look passes, but Stafford does it pretty well. 2-time Pro Bowler. He did finally win a Super Bowl in 2021. Yeah, it was the second COVID Super Bowl where they beat the Bengals. 2011 Comeback Player of the Year. he has over his career 56,047 passing yards and 357 touchdowns. That's going to be good enough. I think he's in the top 10 passing, and if not, he will be in it by the end of this year, uh, which is pretty astounding. But he did play on some really bad teams. And they do got some big ass women in San Antonio. I had to say that.
Makes me
It was
want to
just-
go to San Antonio.
I just watch those videos to make myself smile. But no, Stafford's fun. I've enjoyed watching his kind of career kind of unfold. He was stuck on some bad teams. He's been my fantasy QB for a lot of years too, so that has to count for something. I think another solid year with the Rams, and I think he's Hall of Fame. I would say he's Hall of Fame bound, but there's a lot of people that say even with that one Super Bowl appearance, it doesn't make up for all those bad years with those rough years with the Lions, even though again, QB record is, I think, a terrible metric to judge a quarterback.
I think it goes back to that old saying: you have to Matt Stanford for something, or you'll fall for anything.
Matt Stafford.
Andrew is so used to recording with me that these affect him not.
I am the Brian laugh to Johnny Jim Cornette. Okay.
There's been so many times where I laugh even harder. Goes, I know he's just tuning me out.
All right. It's just become like an immunity to me. It's like with the guy that just injects himself with snake venom. Like he can just get bit now and he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford. I think out of all of these guys, he's probably number 4 if I was to rank him as a possibility to get in.
Interesting.
No, I would probably put him at 3.
Ahead of who? I know Joe Flacco's one of them, but who's the other one? Eli?
Rivers. Eli's
Oh.
had those moments, man. Those 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Sorry.
Stafford's had, I guess he's had some moments.
Stafford has that Super Bowl. And the Rams couldn't get over the hump.
And he humped him.
And yeah, he humped them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Big question: has Johnny heard of Matt Stafford?
Yeah, you call
Answer?
Kelly Joe Osmond. See,
Was that the guy?
that was the guy.
Yes, I most
Because
certainly
I
have.
once again totally rejected Johnny's joke, and I was like, "That's Matt Stafford." And then Matt was like, "The Matt who's with us now." It's like, I think he was trying to make a joke, Andrew, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Which side note, Matt also does NBA players in other jerseys, and I saw one this morning, and it was of a white guy in a Orlando Magic's jersey, and without reading it, I was thinking Scott Skiles. Everybody knows he was in Orlando Magic, but it was Mark Price.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into the other ones.
Scott Skiles is coming up.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Most assists in a game, Scott Skiles.
I've fed Matt quite lists for baseball and basketball.
I'm so like, it's been such a relief to not have to dig up names just to put up. Big relief.
Because I've been playing nothing but old PS2 games, so I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
that
you can
guy
see
was-
oh man,
I'm
yeah,
like, that guy was on that team.
yeah,
Put it in my notes.
yeah.
Uh,
But does he get in? Do you think he gets in though?
I think
I-
at some point, yeah, because he's still adding.
Yeah,
When did he start? 2009 is that when he was drafted? You said
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's already a good long career right there.
Yeah.
See, and I think maybe the bad seasons in Detroit hurt him, but in a way kind of help him when it comes to him actually going to Los Angeles and winning that Super Bowl.
Right.
And then even last year, they were supposed to kind of not be that great, and they were still 9-6. He still had a 9-6 record with them.
Yeah. It took them to the playoffs. They got bounced the first round, but even
But
still,
I didn't-
that was not planned,
No,
not
So-
expected.
I think it helps him in a way. There's some very off-putting as Matt, because I only like to do it to these modern players because Matt does it to all the guys from the 70s that when the rules were different, there's some very off-putting TD to INT ratios. And the other thing that I think helps them, 35 comebacks and 44 game-winning drives.
He's had a lot of good ones. I think that's
Oh,
a
so
fun
he's
one.
clutch, is what you're saying.
He can be
He's
clutch.
relatively clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
I love the one against, was it, which one did he sneak it in? He did the fake spike sneak in or something like that because he had a hurt shoulder. Was that the Cleveland game?
I
Or
think
was that
so.
somebody else?
I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly who, but I do remember that.
Stafford's got a lot of fun, and he's mic'd up for that one too, and it's pretty incredible. So
And he's a Dallas kid.
yeah,
I think anytime a player is fighting through an injury and they still like help win an important game, that's always like a really cool moment. I always think of Isaiah Thomas when he rolled his ankle and he comes back in and and still dominates despite the fact he's hobbling everywhere.
Jordan flu game, that's iconic.
Well, Jordan he had bad pizza game. Let's be realistic here, but
Dan Marino not being able to flex his foot, but yet throws for 400 yards in a game.
Oh yeah, and Stafford has better stats than Dan Marino, so he deserves to get it.
the bloody sock. Let's not forget about the bloody sock in baseball.
Kurt Schilling.
Yeah.
Oh, also, did you guys know that Matthew Stafford played baseball at Clayton Kershaw
Yeah, I do.
in high school?
Yeah.
I don't know
Wow.
if you guys knew that. I don't know if you guys knew that.
He also lived in the same neighborhood that Bobby Lane did.
Did you know that Jason Williams and Randy Moss were played sports together growing up?
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually really didn't. They tell us every time about Stafford and Kershaw. Like every time he plays a game, they're like, "Oh, did you know? Look at this picture." But
Well,
no, I didn't know that.
I was a big
Kinda
fan of big fan of Jason Williams because he's like one of the coolest passers who came into the NBA for a while. But they would anytime they brought him up, they always brought that stat up. So I heard that a lot.
Kind of like
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Darren Waller being a crackhead.
Well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow, he's having a really good game today. Did you know that Darren Waller smoked crack 3 years ago?
And I told everybody at work about your draft drinking game, Matt.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
then
every time somebody died,
somebody said you need to market that.
I probably should have.
What is this?
So the 2020 NFL draft, every player that was drafted in the first round had some sad backstory where somebody close to them died.
Oh, I do know. Okay, yes, I do know that. Yes.
And I was like, wow, this should turn into a drinking game.
They do that in the NBA draft now too, where they'll dig through somebody's background to find like the most like saddest thing they can find and they'll bring it up.
All right.
When he was 2 years old, his goldfish died, and he hasn't been the same since.
If I gotta hear, I feel bad, but if I could hear one more time about Josh Jacobs living in a car with his father, I'm gonna lose my mind on that one too.
Mick Foley lived in his car and look what became of him.
Yeah. And he was there for Jimmy Snuka,
Yeah,
flying off the cage.
that's right.
We never heard that one before.
Good thing
Hitchhike-
he wasn't there for
hitchhike
other
there.
things for Jimmy Snuka.
No, yeah, don't want to talk about that.
Jimmy Snuka also could also fly off the handle, from what I understand. But let's go to
I like how you snugger that in there.
yeah. Let's go to another former Flyer, former Carolina Hurricane, 20-year career. I do believe he is still their current head coach, Mr. Rob Brendanmore. Mr. Rob Brendanmore in his 20-year career had 452 goals, 732 assists, 1,184 points, a negative 39, but we're not going to hold that against him.
I am.
We all have we all have bad days. We all have bad days. He was the captain for that 2006 Stanley Cup team. Only one-time All-Star, but two-time Frank Selke Award winner for that is the best defensive forward. Does Rob Brendanmore, who has always been, even like when I watched him with the Flyers, he's always been the workhorse guy.
How long has he been coaching?
Also, was he actually the
7 seasons.
captain?
For what? Yes, he was actually the captain.
All right. It's a big deal.
He was actually the captain.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, coaching wise, how's he considered as a coach?
Playoffs every year.
I
Does
like
he have?
this guy. Aside from his plus minus,
You
his
can't
stats are up there and
for
his
the hockey.
longevity.
For the hockey, they won't look at the coaching stats.
Oh, it's purely about the
It's
play.
purely
Yeah.
about the player.
Okay.
He's a hard one because he's once again never been that guy. Like on the Flyers, he was a guy that you didn't want to trade.
Yeah.
Other teams wanted him because of the value he could. And like as a fan, when the Flyers actually did trade him, and they traded him for Keith Primo, who you could kind of say was a better player at the time. Like I was like, oh, we're getting Keith Primo, but I was like hurt inside that we were losing Rob Brendamore.
Was he like an ultimate glue guy?
Yeah, huge,
Yeah.
huge. If that's
He has the gorilla glue of his team.
yeah, even with the Hurricanes, and he wasn't in anybody's hair. He did not do Gorilla Glue in his hair.
Oh man, smart. I think he gets in.
Yeah, I'd have to say so too. I think he has a place in there.
But just to be a dick to Andrew, I think he doesn't get in. Out of friendship. Boo.
We gotta do one to Dick to Andrew because Matt's still upset about Joe Flacco.
I'm very upset.
How do you get upset?
It was an understandable take.
Yeah.
It was actually, in all seriousness, it was a completely understandable take.
Well,
but
I also did it because you don't know the difference between Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah, Andrew.
That's a dick move, and I didn't start this then.
When Matt asked me, like I was telling him about one for video game characters in other video games. Go check out that Facebook page, give it a like. I was like, hey, Mighty Bomb Jackson, Tecmo Super Bowl. And then he sends me a message back. He goes, is it Tecmo Bowl or Tecmo Super Bowl? I'm confused. And I corrected him, but then I replied to the question that he asked me with, we need to talk about this.
See, Matt, you gotta be like me. He knows better not to talk to me about that because he knows it's not gonna matter to me.
We need to talk about this.
I'll listen because I always listen to my friends, but I'm ultimately like, I don't understand what the big deal is here because I can't tell you the difference if I'm being honest. Besides the name,
Yeah.
I'm assuming Super Bowl came after the first bowl, right? Is that how that worked? Yeah.
It's I could get into it later, but pretty much Tecmo Bowl only has certain amount of teams that I think made the 87 playoffs, where Tecmo Super Bowl has all the teams. There's a lot of things.
I mean, we come from the generation where our sports games didn't even have all the teams that were in the league.
Yeah, that's what Tecmo Bowl was. But then
that's how those Genesis early NBA games were. Bulls versus Blazers. They didn't have all the teams.
We need to do that conversation. Matt and I have been talking about the greatest like console sport, like which console had the best sports games.
Oh,
that's another one that we need to talk about.
Because I'd be down to be a part of that. I was gonna say
yes.
I was gonna say these Saturday morning recordings, if we keep this up, are actually mostly pretty good. So
we only do it bi-weekly.
Yeah. So we'll see. Depending on what the content is and what the scheduling is, I might be able to be a part of more of these.
Yeah, there we
go.
I've
already penciled you in for our the odd players who got video game covers conversation. So
yeah. All right.
Well, if he joining us too, because we seem like we bored him pretty good.
He's been asleep for probably the better half, like an hour and a half.
Matt, that's the only reason why Matt wants to do these Saturday recordings. He's like, oh, the kid's crying.
He sleeps. The wife's out of the house. Life is good.
Yeah, when I used to play video games. I was just talking about the time that I threw a perfect game in MLB The Show 07, but my daughter was getting in the way. She was about maybe a year old, and she was in her walker, and I was like, she keeps on getting away, and I'm trying to pitch this perfect game. So I put those puffs on her little tray, and then I stuffed towels underneath her walker so she wouldn't move. But the minute I was done with the game, I rejoiced, and then I removed the towels and I let her go. Call me a bad father, whatever.
I think you're a good dad.
I gotta take some time out for me, okay?
This kids down the hall really respect you, so you're good.
No. That's why I beat Jacoby's ass in pool. So I learned I can still beat him in physical things, but in video games, he's got the edge on me.
You fought him in a pool?
No, like playing. In a way, yes, I do. I do German suplex them in the pool constantly, and then
Oh, you got to do that. You're in a pool. If you don't wrestle in a pool, what's the pool for?
Oh, I whip that kid around like there's nobody. He's under 100 pounds. I just
Oh god, yeah.
It's like I told my wife, it's not child abuse if they're laughing.
That's right. If they're having a good time. Yeah. In my backyard wrestling days, not to brag to man about pro wrestling, but in my backyard wrestling days, I was the only one of us three who could pick anybody up, so I did the best moves.
You were the power guy.
Yep.
But
I had a great spine, not Arn Anderson level, but I had a pretty good spine buster.
oh, I would love to see you spine bust Trevor.
I think I said a spine buster if I remember right.
Jesus.
Oh man, I have those on video somewhere. I gotta find those.
With that being said, thank you, Matt, for coming on once again, and
Bennett.
and Bennett, who we really wanted on
Yeah.
because he gives better sports opinions than Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Jackson, or Stephen A. Jackson. That's the
Stephen A. Jackson.
I'm thinking of the basketball player, Stephen. I can't even remember his last name. I'm really having a blank.
Smith?
Stephen A. Smith.
Like one of the most common last names.
I couldn't get it. I went to Jackson.
I've done that
Set
before.
up and Smoke podcast. But thank you, Matt, for joining us. With that being said, on behalf of the team, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.